Hi, and welcome to Fancy Friday in my closet. Today I'll be talking to Mikhael Kale. Very, very interesting designer. I cannot wait to talk to him because we've never met. So this is great. I get to know more. Oh, there he is. Hello, Mikhael. Hi!
Hey, B. No, Jack. No, that's
We
Jack,
meet
my
at
puppy.
last.
I know.
We
Wow,
meet at
you look
last.
gorgeous, B.
Thank you.
You look
Thank you.
stunning.
I'm actually like super excited to talk to you, and I've been wanting to talk to you because I feel so connected to your designs.
I feel equally as connected to you. I think
So,
this is
there's
beyond.
a few good things from this social distancing.
Yeah, I know we finally get to have this conversation, which is amazing.
Yes. Yes. Hi. How
Hi.
are you? Where
Sorry,
are you?
Jack. Jack is barking. She's my little puppy here, and she's going a little crazy because she probably thinks somebody's at the door. Jackie, do you want to say hi? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come. Come.
Let me see your puppy.
This is Jackie here.
I'm getting a puppy tonight.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
What kind of puppy?
Well, I'm getting a teacup Chinese crested.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I
That's
know. And I've literally, how long have you had your puppy?
she's 3 years old now. I
Oh,
got her at
okay.
8 weeks.
Well,
So
mine's 12 weeks old.
really.
Yes. And I'm super excited. And, I have this like compulsive behavior. Like I get obsessed. And so, like, I spend a week of like obsessing about getting this dog. And then now I've read like every book you can read, every podcast. Like, I need to master the puppy. I was like, okay, I'm going to military train it in Swedish.
Well, that's the way to do it, to be honest with you. But I mean, I've become so emo after having gotten Jack. Like, I can't function without her. I can't travel without her. Like, it's like this crazy attachment that I never really thought that I would, have
Well,
before.
that's how I am. I had a cat, but I treated my cat like a dog,
Right.
and it just didn't work. And so I said, like, I try to rescue a dog, I try to do all these things, but like if I'm gonna succeed as a pet owner, I
Mhm.
need a dog that works with my lifestyle. And my
Yeah.
lifestyle is on the road and like moving around. So I need something that I could just put in my purse, and I'm the same way. I get very attached.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, I like this little doggy house over here. I'm gonna show you.
Let's see.
It's coming. Wait, hold on. See?
Oh my God, that's adorable. That's
Yeah.
adorable. And it
So
helps that you have your
I'm
daughters too, because
so,
they can take care of her also.
oh my God. It's mostly for them. They've never had a dog. So
Right.
they're absolutely like overjoyed. Like they cannot wait. The excitement is like beyond. Yeah, I'm very, very excited. What tattoo do you have on your head? I'm so curious.
I have like a bunch of tattoos. I have Jack, lie down. So I have a bunch of lettering on the top here, and then I have these eyes that are a little emo. They're sort of bleeding on top of my head, and then at the back here, I don't know if you can see, I have the Virgin Mary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
and then I have a dagger over here with a rose. Yeah, I think on my head alone, I have about 15
You're a
tattoos.
gangster.
No. You are gangster, B. You are gangster.
I'm a Swedish gangster.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, well, an incredible gangster, that's for sure.
Well, this is so exciting. I'm so happy to talk to you. I'm absolutely your biggest fan. I'm so intrigued by your designs. I mean, just this alone, it's 30 degrees Celsius in LA. I'm wearing two
Yeah,
corsets right now because I love
I know.
you. Um, it's so hot. I'm not complaining because I'm so happy to just enjoy the outside and, staying in my house and all
Right.
of that. But, you know, looking at your design, every time you go to, like, I can't wait for your next collection to come to the showroom because it's so exciting. I don't know what you're going to show. And I want to try to understand your brain because it's like, your street, your couture, your this, your that. Like, how does all that work? Like, what, like, where, like, how, what's the process? Because, like, I mean, if everyone can see, this is like, I mean, I'm halfway through the pillow challenge,
Right? It's so
Like,
funny that the whole pillow challenge thing happened because that was the inspiration for that, which was,
really? Because I
yeah, that
like
was a
literally
year
put it
ago.
on and I was like, this is the pillow challenge.
Yeah. Well, I've
Um,
always been a fan of like quilting and Victorian quilting. And so that there specifically was, I guess, a deconstruction of quilting. That was the idea of it. And then I created these pillows and then we put them onto a corset. And then all of a sudden, like a year later, it's so funny how this like pillow challenge is everywhere.
I know I saw that, then I was like, oh, this is it, but really your designs are so yummy. Like I would wear anything from your collection any day. It's I just try to understand, like, tell us a little bit about, like, what's your background? How did you get into fashion? Like, how did you become Mikhael Kale, the genius?
Oh gosh, genius. The funny thing is, B, actually, a very good friend of mine, Sylvia Mantella. I'm not sure if you know of Sylvia Mantella.
Uh-uh.
She's like a philanthropist. She's on Instagram. I'll send you her profile after. She has this
Okay.
incredible reserve in Florida. She's like committed her life to like endangered species and wildlife. It's a private sanctuary for like animals that are like
Oh,
she
wow.
like gets off like canned meat auctions. Like she has rhinos and lions and all that stuff in Florida. But we were in New York actually, and she had bought a pair of shoes, and she said, Michael, I think you should come with me. She's like, I'm doing this little dinner with this guy. I bought his shoes, and he wanted to meet me and have a conversation. And his name is Tom Solo or Thomas Solo.
We know Tom Solo. He used to be in the showroom.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's so funny because he told me about you, and that was, I
Oh,
think, 8 years ago. Yeah.
oh, that's how you
And
found us?
well, I just, that's when I first, I guess, became familiar with your work. And I remember like just looking at what you do and what you did. And I was just like, I was just blown away. And it's so funny how like the stars in some way have aligned and we've come together without us even, going out of our way to meet. And I just think that
No,
you,
I know. And I
you're
was
amazing.
thinking the same thing because, most of the time, like, I'll find a super cool designer that, somewhere, and I was like, oh my God, they should be in our showroom because I know they'll do amazing. And then there you were, you just like popped up one day, and I was like, who's this Mikhael Kale? I'm like, where did he come from? And Steven's like, oh, yeah, da, da, da. And then, I think we're on our third collection with you now.
Yes.
And I was like, when is he sending? When is he sending? And it's always like, oh, it's in Paris. It's in Paris. I'm like, no, 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 you got to send it now. And I always feel like I'm the first one to debut it because I'm so excited. I was like, I need somewhere to go just so I could wear it.
Well, and you probably are one of the very few people. I mean, the way you not only photograph it, but the way that you wear it, it just like it's transformative, really, of the actual collection.
Thank
Like
you.
even you putting these two pieces together, like honestly, B, it's so inspiring to see it. And I think there's a synergy, and I just think that you're amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely. My one question to you is, like, who's your fit model? Because I would say, like, everything fits quite small, but it fits me perfect. So, like, how? Because it's always interesting to see how designers usually they base like the sizing on themselves, but obviously you design for women, so that doesn't really
Yes.
work. But it's always interesting to know, like, what's your ideal model, and like who's your dream collaborator? Who would you love to dress?
Well, because I do I shoot the lookbooks and I shoot the campaigns and we do this whole street thing in
Yes, we got to
Paris.
get into that because I'm
Yeah, we gotta
super
get into
into that.
Um, so it's always been pretty much essentially it's the girls that I cast and I can get while I'm in Paris, and they're always incredibly small, especially when it's on the street. I mean, like when it's live and it's people are like looking at it, you can't really fake its fit, right?
Of course.
So that's really where like I guess the fit comes into play is just making sure that it looks fantastic, and I would say that it adheres more really to the girl that we cast every season, which is generally speaking, sort of what's available to us in Paris.
All right. Well, I'm glad after this like house quarantine, I'm still fitting into your clothes.
Oh, please. You look amazing. No, you look
uh,
incredible.
so tell me a little bit, like, so all your photo shoots are sort of like guerrilla style on the street in Paris. like how, and and you do it in front of a show. So how do you pick a show, and like how do you get it all ready? I can very much relate to that because I do a lot of guerrilla shooting where I'll just like go into a grocery store or whatever, and like, you know, I get kicked out all the time, and people
Yeah.
tell me what the hell's going on and all of that. Like, so I can relate to that aspect of shooting, but it also sort of gives you a rush and it's fun. And, you know, I always said like that's how I started out, like as a stylist, like back in the day when I was just, you know, a teenager living in Hollywood and trying to live my dream. I would like literally dress up in like a full gown and go grocery shopping for real because it made my day more fun. You know, it's like no one's gonna like, if everything is boring, like to me, fashion
Yeah.
gives me life. And so
Mhm.
that's why I'm like, you know, when I meet designers, when I meet talented people, like that gives me energy in life, you know? So tell me a little bit
Totally.
about how you do your shooting and like why, and you know, how the process.
So I have shot in studio before, and that was in past, and I always found it very static and uninspiring. I mean, you know, you're in this sort of like confined area, and you don't really get to explore. And I think that fashion needs to live. It needs to breathe. Important. Also, I think that very few people actually get access to this type of design. I mean, this is not really, you know, your relatable, sellable stuff, right? So
It's not for everyone.
no, it's not for everybody. And I think there should be a conversation. I think there should be a dialogue. I think people should have be able to see it and to see it, and not everybody should like it. It's funny because when we shoot in Paris and I see the people react, I mean, there's a lot of people that are like, "Ill, like what is that? That makes no sense." Like, you know, either they're frightened or, but I think
But
that's
that's what
all
I
part
love
of
about
fashion.
your designs. It doesn't make sense at all. Like it's literally
Right.
like you think it makes sense and then it doesn't. So it's sort of like that left brain of creativity that just goes, okay, let me make you this traditional corset, but let me do it like this, you know?
Right.
And that's what's
Yeah.
exciting about your designs.
Well, thank you. That's very flattering coming from you, of all people. B, um, but yeah. So I think that, and also, not only do I think that fashion should breathe and fashion should be in an environment where people have more access to it, and these ideas, but I also think that I'm in a very sort of particular situation where, you know, I'm from Toronto. I manufacture and produce everything here in a very small space with a very small team of people. My hand is in everything. We build everything from start to finish. So there isn't anything that's, you know, given elsewhere, or we don't manufacture anywhere other than the studio here itself. And I just don't have the finance to have a huge show in Paris.
Right.
So the motive was to, well, if I can't get the editors into the showroom, well, then I'll go to the editors. So let's pinpoint some shows that, you know, we'd like to see. We'd like to see B, or we'd like to see Patty Wilson. And so that's sort of how it started. And
It's amazing. It's an amazing concept. It's an original concept. It's super amazing. Bravo on you. How many people are on your team?
I have four. I've had to let go of a few because of this whole COVID thing, but we're hoping we'll obviously pick up. And then, and then, well, there's you guys. You guys are my team,
Yes,
and
we are for sure.
and so, but I have a very intimate environment where it's four girls and myself, and we do all the sewing and everything, pattern drafting, grading, all that stuff.
Amazing, amazing. Super cool. Okay, so let me see what else. Tell us a few highlights of your career.
Oh gosh, there's been so many. Like I've had the opportunity to work with so many people. You know, like celebrity is great. I love working celebrity, but I have to say the most exciting work ever, the most inspiring work is stylists. It really is, because they reinterpret how something functions and how something is seen. Um, and you know, without this being a complete love fest here, uh, like I said previously, like when I've seen you, even that one piece, I mean, there's been so many pieces that I've seen you wear, B, and photograph, and you do it in the same vein, which is crazy. That to me is definitely a highlight. It's great. I mean, I have to say we did together. We did the Normani for Surf. Was no, sorry, that was for Wonderland magazine,
Rolling
and that's a
Stone.
highlight. No, it was for um, Wonderland magazine, Normani,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
for the cover. So that's like a highlight of this year. And you know, working with Beyonce, working with Jennifer Lopez, with Rosalia, like all that is fantastic. But I think when it comes to really being inspired, it's stylists.
That's very nice of you to say. I feel like, you know, stylists, like we're such a, I don't know how to say it. Like I've always felt like we're so in the back, like we're so like we never get credited, you know? Like we're like it's the same like with costume design. Like you watch movies and you know everyone gets credit on the movie and then like the costume designer gets credit in the end, you know, unless, you know, you really negotiate for it. And we're such a crucial part to the process and of creating a character and what we're doing. But you know, I feel like now in the last couple of like years, last decade, yeah, for sure. But before, like no one even knew that it was an occupation and people even had a stylist, you know?
Hmm.
So that's very nice
Hmm.
for you to you know honor that, see that, you know, because we're the ones that make that happen. We're the ones that like ultimately make this final decision of what someone's going to wear. And
Yes.
I mean, of course every celebrity and whoever you're dressing has some say, but we influence what they should wear. We influence the idea of a designer or something like that. But the one thing that I could say that I think is great now compared to before is people are more open to emerging designers and people are more open to wearing non big brand names. Like if something is amazing, you know, a celebrity will wear it just because it's amazing. So I always say, let the design speak for itself. And if it's
Hmm.
amazing, someone will wear it, you know, and that's
Yeah.
the beauty of our showroom. Like most people, you know, almost every stylist comes through there at one point. So if you make the right piece, it will find its home.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's so interesting because I would say 99% of the opportunities or even, you know, sort of the pulls, celebrity pulls, have been because of stylists. I mean, like, you know, Wonderland magazine wouldn't happen on Normani if it wasn't for Tony. I mean, she really, the fashion director, and stylist there, is the one that brought it on set. So,
Correct.
it's same thing in fashion. For instance, like, you know, I designed something. I'm really fortunate because that's something I've always done. Is I've always been sort of obsessed with the structure and obsessed with the building of something.
I love
But you know what?
structure too.
I love
Like
that.
it's like the one thing, like I feel like, you know, I'm really, most people don't know about this about me, but I'm 5'3". I'm really really short.
Oh wow.
So for
Yeah.
me, you know, designs with structure, you can sort of mold yourself to look and be whatever you want to be, you know. It's
Hmm.
an illusion,
Hmm.
right? You're creating an illusion
Yeah.
of what a person is, and that has always sort of been my weapon of dressing in, you know, I always wear hats and big things because it makes me look taller. You know, it's like you take the hat off, you know, this is adding what, another 10 inches to me. Great.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so, you know, that is the concept of why I personally love shapes and structure and sizes. I mean, I'm turning 45 in 2 weeks. You know, I don't have the perfect body. I'm not trying to say I have the perfect body, but I know how to dress myself to camouflage myself to look the best possible way I can, you know?
Oh, please be. If you can fit into those samples right now, and this is not no word of a lie, you have pretty much the perfect body. Those things that get on. Are you there? Did you hear?
No, I
You
actually,
do
yeah,
have the
yeah,
perfect
you're
body.
following. I actually had my twins dress me because I couldn't get to the zipper.
Oh,
and
yeah,
and
yeah, they're tough.
it's always a good sign when they're like, oh mom, you look amazing. Like they're like, oh, your hat kind of looks like our new dog. And you know, it's like I always see their reaction to, you know, they're not super impressed but what I do and, you know, the things that I do,
Right.
but sometimes they're like, mom, that's a really good outfit. And I was like, okay, cool. As long as I get their stamp of approval, I don't really care about anyone else in the world.
That's amazing. It's so funny because I was doing a fitting. This is a while back with we were doing a Skype fitting for Patty Wilson for something that she was shooting, and I had my niece here. My
She's
niece is
my
6 years
favorite.
old, and we spent a lot of time together. What's that?
She's my favorite. Patty.
Who? Patty?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. She's such a pro. And so we were sitting here, and the reference was this crazy dress, and it's like massive, and it was made out of taffeta, so it could stand in these different directions. And so Patty's like, fabulous, fabulous. And we have a model. I'm doing the fitting, and she's on, and she's like looking at it. And she's asked me to get closer, and then my niece walks in, and she looks at it and makes this face and says, "That is the silliest, ugliest dress I've ever seen in my life." So it's always great to have them around because, it's a dose of reality, of course.
No,
Uh,
it is. And they, they don't judge. They just have this super like fresh and clear interpretation of everything.
yeah, and no filter,
Um,
which is great.
no filter whatsoever, but they also call me extra. They said, "Mom, you're always so extra." And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" And I said, you could choose, like, would you rather me just be like a regular mom, or do you want me to keep being extra because that's just who I
Yeah,
am? And they're like, "No, we like you the way you are." And I'm like, "Okay, great."
yeah.
So, okay, what else do I want to know? So I know that were you actually tested positive for COVID-19?
I was, yeah. I came back from Paris. I was in Paris, and actually I was down there with the photographer I shoot with, Carlo Calopi, and then also the two girls who are on my team, Amanda and Martha. So we went down there, and it was, were you in Paris this season, B?
I was not.
No, it was really crazy. It obviously didn't have the same amount of traffic, and you could just feel. But at that
And
point,
how did you know that you were sick? How did you know you had it?
well, I was fine. But what we were doing is, of course, we were doing this whole like guerrilla shooting that we do every season, and it rained every single day. It was so cold. It was freezing. And we were there for 5 days, and every day we shot outside, and we're outside for at least a good 4 to 5 hours, completely drenched. And so uh, I didn't get sick until I got back to Toronto. And then like a couple of days later, we got back on, I think it was March 2nd, March 4th, all three of us actually had very similar colds and coughs. And I was feeling a bit feverish, and I contacted my doctor. But at that point, even this COVID-19 Corona thing was just sort of coming, sort of into the press. It wasn't really, nobody was really discussing it the same way.
But did you actually get a test and were tested positive, or you just thought you had it?
No, so what happened was I got back, I contacted my doctor. He told me don't come into the clinic, and he said just stay home. It could either be a cold, and he said but the symptoms are very similar, and he says if you have issues breathing, then come see me or go directly to the emergency. And so I didn't have any issues breathing. I didn't think I did. I just thought I had maybe dry nose. And so I ended up seeing him a week later, and we did a blood test. And when he found out that I told him that I have a dry nose, and so in the evenings I'm having difficulty breathing. He like sent me home, and he said, "Then you shouldn't be here because you're going to get other people sick." And then 5 days later, it was a positive test. But my symptoms were really minor, and he
I
said,
mean, how
he
would you
told me,
compare it? Like, how would you compare it to a regular cold? Like, if a cold is like, a 5, like, was it just like a cold, or did you feel like, my breathing, like, this is like a much more, you know, scary feeling?
no, it was just really, I felt incredibly weak for, I'd say probably 2.5 weeks following. I didn't have I didn't have any like flu symptoms in terms of having like a fever. I was feeling a bit feverish the first day or two, but that went away. And then I had really massive headaches that I couldn't shake. And I had a really sore throat. I had obviously a runny nose. I had a cough, and there was a bit of wheezing.
Did you lose your sense of taste? Because a lot of people say that.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Yeah, because I saw Ariane
Ariane,
said
yeah.
that. Yeah, she said that she lost her. I mean, I saw her Instagram, of course. So, but no, I didn't have that issue. And then the funny thing is, all three of us had the exact same symptoms, and it took about a month for it to go away, for the sore
Oh,
throat to
wow.
go away, headaches. But I literally had a headache for 3 weeks. It was massive.
Okay, but you're feeling great now,
No,
and
yeah, I think it's
okay,
back to work,
amazing.
back to drafting.
Okay, amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. It's so lovely to meet you. I hope we get to meet in person soon when we can all leave our house and I can leave my closet. Um,
Yes.
I've actually been to Toronto a few times. If I ever go back, I'll visit you.
Yes. Well, I
And
have to make my
please
way
visit
down to
us in
LA
LA.
also.
We what when do we get to the new collection? We're dying. We need the new collection.
I know I haven't shipped it yet because they put a hold on all shipping out of Canada. It's like essential
Oh,
shipping only.
okay. Well,
So
as soon as they open up, we can't wait to receive it.
yes, and I do. I want to make my way down to LA. I want to see you guys when they open up the
Yeah,
borders and come
I
down
really think you
for a
should. I
bit.
think, coming to the showroom gives you a different sense of what we are. It's like there's showrooms and this, but like there's a reason why it's called the Residency Experience, because the showroom really is an experience. I want you to walk in and feel inspired off the bat. It's not just a bunch of racks. It's like a museum of fashion. So
Mhm.
if please come and visit us. I would love to show it to you and meet you in person.
Yeah, so we have to do that definitely. When this all is said and done, we'll have
Okay,
to
great.
schedule that. Okay, B. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat.
Of course, and you have a great weekend.
You too. All right.
Okay,
Mwah.
bye.
Okay. See you. Bye.